History is often told as a story of great empires and mighty armies clashing on the fields of destiny. We imagine vast legions, endless cavalry, overwhelming force. But this is only part of the story. Hidden within the grand sweep of history are moments where the script is completely flipped. Smaller, seemingly doomed armies standing their ground against colossal foes and, through sheer brilliance, emerging victorious. These are the battles won not by numbers but by intellect, cunning, the audacious genius of a single commander who saw the battlefield as it could be. More than footnotes, these victories are testaments to the human spirit and the power of strategy. They teach us that overwhelming odds are not insurmountable. A clever plan, executed with precision and courage, can unravel a larger force and turn its size against itself. These battles changed the course of wars, forged the destinies of nations, and left a tactical blueprint studied for centuries. Underdog stories proving that in conflict, a sharp mind is the greatest weapon capable of the seemingly impossible. In this journey, we will explore 5 encounters that have echoed through the ages. The year is 216 BC. The air over southern Italy is thick with dust and tension. A massive Roman army, over 80,000 strong, marches with unwavering confidence. Titans of the ancient world, disciplined and seemingly invincible. Their mission: find the Carthaginian general, Hannibal Barca, and crush his smaller army. The consuls Varro and Paulus, eager for a decisive battle, saw Hannibal outnumbered and far from home. They could not have been more wrong. Hannibal was waiting. He had laid a trap of unparalleled brilliance. He knew the Romans, aggressive and proud, would drive at the center. He arranged his army in a crescent bulging forward with his weakest troops, the Gauls and Spanish infantry, making the center look like a juicy target. It was the ultimate bait. The legions surged, crowding into an ever-narrowing gap. Their ranks became dangerously compressed. Then came the decisive move, the double envelopment. Hannibal's elite African infantry held the flanks, turned inward, and attacked the sides as his cavalry routed Rome's horse and struck the rear. Surrounded so tightly they could barely lift their arms, the Roman army was annihilated. One of the most devastating defeats in military history. Imagine a vast flat plain near the ancient city of Babylon. Darius III assembled an immense army on open ground, leveled for scythed chariots and waves of cavalry. Facing them, Alexander with 47,000. A head-on assault would be suicide. Instead, he advanced obliquely to the right, refusing a frontal fight. The Persian left wing lunged to intercept, stretching, thinning, and opening a gap. A corridor yawned between their flank cavalry and the infantry center where Darius stood. Alexander waited, his companions coiled to strike. When the gap widened, he wheeled and launched a thunderous wedge straight through it. A spear thrust at the king himself. Persian command shattered. Seeing the companions crash through, Darius fled. The army dissolved into panic. Morale collapsed. With one perfectly timed charge, Alexander surgically removed the enemy's head and won the empire's gateway. On the morning of October 25th, 1415, a small, exhausted English army was trapped. Led by King Henry V, they were sick, starving, and racing for an English-held port. Blocking their path, a fresh, confident French army outnumbering them at least 3-1. The nobles saw an easy win. Henry saw the battlefield itself, a narrow, sodden corridor between woods, as his greatest weapon. The woods guarded his flanks and funneled the French into a congested lane. Rains turned the field into a clinging quagmire that would exhaust armored knights. Henry massed archers on his flanks and ordered 6-foot stakes, a simple barrier that made his bowmen a fortified killing machine. The first charge was shredded by arrows and impaled on hidden stakes. The rest bogged down in deep mud, cohesion crumbling. Packed tight, many fell to trampling and suffocation. Using terrain and longbow, Henry's tiny army destroyed the flower of French nobility, an improbable, legendary victory. Early December, 1805, near Austerlitz, Napoleon in enemy country, outnumbered by Russians and Austrians. He played the cornered man, even abandoning the Pratzen Heights and thinning his right. His masterpiece at Austerlitz was brilliant deception, baiting the Allies to cut his supposed retreat. The sun of Austerlitz burned away the fog to reveal the Allies lumbering off the heights toward his weak right. In doing so, they weakened their center. leaving only a small force atop the heights. Hidden below, Soult's corps waited for the perfect moment. One sharp blow, and the war is over. Soult surged uphill, seizing the high ground and splitting the Allied army. From dominance, they crashed into the Allied rear still engaged on the right. Caught between two fires, Allied cohesion collapsed. Napoleon turned feigned weakness into total victory, shattering the Third Coalition. Spring 1863. The Confederacy faced grim odds as Hooker's 130,000 advanced. With only 60,000, Lee faced an enemy in front and another turning his flank and rear. Any conventional general would retreat. Lee violated a cardinal rule. He divided his army in the face of a superior enemy. First, a small screen at Fredericksburg. Then, after facing Hooker, he split again. Jackson would take nearly 30,000, half the army, on a 12-mile flank march through the wilderness. Lee, with 15,000, bluffed and skirmished all day to mask the maneuver. Late afternoon, Jackson crashed into the exposed Union right. The surprise was total and devastating. The flank disintegrated, unhinging Hooker's plan and shattering his nerve. Despite superior numbers, the Union retreated days later. By defying convention and risking everything, Lee achieved a stunning victory at Chancellorsville. From the dusty plains of Cannae to the dense woods of Virginia, the story remains the same. History is not merely a numbers game. Cannae, Gaugamela, Agincourt, Austerlitz, Chancellorsville, eternal monuments to this truth. 5 generals looking thoughtfully over maps: Hannibal, Alexander, Henry V, Napoleon, Robert E. Lee. Outnumbered, outsupplied, often trapped, yet they saw opportunity. They spotted gaps and turned terrain, timing, and deception to their advantage. Hannibal made Roman fury self-destructive. Alexander opened one decisive seam. Henry V weaponized mud and stakes. Napoleon staged weakness. Lee defied convention. These lessons reach beyond war. How you use resources can matter more than how many you have. Think strategically. Anticipate, adapt, find unconventional solutions. Act with decisive courage. Is there a smarter way? A hidden opportunity? A move that flips the board? History shows that with the right strategy, even the greatest odds can be overcome.